Alright everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case. Over on Rumble, of course. Unpause and then repause, as we do every single day. We've got some various news content to get to. We'll also be doing a lot of banting. I've decided to cut down a little bit on the news content and just sort of bant with people more. Number one, it's more entertaining. Number two, there's never enough news to actually cover it all and it for being meaningful, so it doesn't really make a difference. I am going to check science news really quickly here. Let's see if they've got any updates. AI reveals new details about a famous Latin inscription. Okay, we might end up getting to that. I'll pull that up. But mainly, we're going to talk about Ozzy's death, of course. Again, Clanker's salute. Ozzy is unfortunately gone. It was expected, though. It was quite clear there was a reason why he wanted to make his one final concert. Trump's budget. Congressman. How to undo Trump's economic damage. Democrats must unite behind making the economy work for working Americans. Good fucking luck, assholes. Just saying. Your current economic ideation is not necessarily going to work for the average worker. Minnesota gets its own Zoran Mamdani. Yes, indeed, this is about actually a different individual, Omar Fateh. Actually, he's basically echoing the same things that Mamdani is doing. The Sultans of Cringe Who Killed Late Night. Yes, indeed. This is a good article. It's Sasha Stone's Substack, actually. And it is quite true, actually. And then I guess we'll get to the AI article. I'll let it archive while we get to other news. I always archive the articles. Out of habit, you know? Curl of the Valley, yay, Sticks time. Is there some orgasming going on over there? Seem to have that effect on occasion. Yeah, some people are saying that Ozzy had an assisted suicide. I still haven't seen any proof of this, so again, I cannot confirm at this time whether that actually happened. Helios ending. For more laughs, also watch Mike and Jay's analysis of Freddy Got Fingered. Oh, that fucking movie was great, actually. Oh, I've still got coffee, don't I? Yeah. Not much of it, but it's still there. Some people won't drink coffee unless it's hot. Yeah. Another dry day where the trees are fucking, by the way. Turtle's Toy Box. The Latin cross has nothing to do with Jesus. Agreed. Look into Paleo-Hebrew. It's synonymous with Omega, basically. Yes, you are correct, actually. Clank. I like coffee, what can I say? This is the Costa Rica blend, actually, from Jam and Bean. In fact, let's get to our sponsors really quickly before we get into the news. We have cultivated-mind.com, where you can get mushroom pills. Don't worry, I took mine this morning. I'm also hypercaffeinated, so you may notice an energy boost. They've also got doggo snacks now. Pupper snacks are highly in demand, and they seem to be very much in demand based on the reaction of the doggo that I actually fed them to. It was not a particular fan of me for the first couple of days I was in New York. Then, when I fed it the pupper snacks, all of a sudden it just wanted to follow me around and shit. And I thought that was very, very funny. It would stare at the bag and like, I've only got so many. You gotta relax a little bit. You know, you don't need that many mushrooms. We have BiltongUSA.com, where you can get Anton's sweet, sweet meat, which I had some of the other day. The Droywurst, the Cabanassi, the Angus, the Wagyu, it doesn't matter which one you buy. They're all delicious. Also, anytime we mention Anton, sorry, Ozzy. Yeah, Ozzy's back there for a reason. We've got to eat some bovrite. He can get you this too. Also, Sticks, Hex, and Hammer mugs, tumblers, and shirts are also available. Thank you, Anton. Yeah. Keep Ozzy company. He would have loved Bull Bright if he tried it. He was probably more of a Marmite fan, you know. And then finally, jamandbean.com. That is JAMNbean.com. You can get delicious Clank coffee, which smells so great. Or the Costa Rica blend, which I'm currently drinking at the moment. And various teas are available as well. The Yunnan Jig is definitely my favorite. Again, as I've explained, basically, you know the tea you get in a Chinese restaurant? Imagine that, but it's fresh and more flavorable. Packs a little bit of a punch, caffeine-wise, too, actually. Then you've got the Dreamweaver, the Healer. Those are more sedative teas. Sort of depends. Do you want to wake up or go to sleep? That's the purpose of tea. So yes, use code STICKS, by the way, on all of these sites. It's a good idea to do so. The Wanderer. Tarl, I'm here! Where are all the white women at? Where are all these crackers and vaginas at? Spider Eternal. Sad to see Ozzy go. Rest in peace. I was hoping he'd live forever. What did you think of Slash's album where he gathered up a famous musician for each track? Ozzy was one of them. One of my favorites. I don't think I saw that one, actually. CP Simple. I'm gonna make me some Starbucks. Oh no, you need to get Clank coffee. Starbucks is not allowed. Vulgus, I need a Styx branded fleshlight that smells like old biltong for my biltong. Jesus. 359 Cuban, I like barley tea. That sounds good, actually. Have to try that sometime. Sharon! Sharon, the kids have turns in the Osmonds. Bog wants more Oregon Trail. I will play more Oregon Trail live streams. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow, actually. But today there is some news, actually, to get to. That, I think I'm going to save it for, like, slow news days. And just like, okay, I'm going to go get cholera, basically. I'm going to die of dysentery. And the last time was a little bit of a train wreck. Managed to salvage through it, but did end up accidentally shooting myself and getting wound sepsis. There was a low order of probability, by the way, when the wound gets infected from a hunting accident in Oregon Trail, you've got a better than 50-50 chance of dying. So that was intriguing. Oregon Trail 2 is so fucking great. It's one of the greatest video games that's ever been made, actually. So yeah, first, we rest in peace for Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath singer and heavy metal pioneer, dead at 76. This is very unfortunate. Now, Bitter Creek's Plastic Thunder, in my opinion, is the first true heavy metal song. But this was basically garage rock, so nobody really knew that it existed. The first heavy metal pioneers were, indeed, Black Sabbath. You can say there's some proto-heavy metal, like with Coven and some of these other bands, the heavy psychedelic sort of thing, towards the late 60s, 68, 69. And by the way, I would like to take umbrage with people who do not like Plastic Thunder and don't think that it's the first metal song. It was not released in 1970. It was released in 1968, making it the first true metal song that was ever created, in my opinion. Listen to Bitter Creek's Plastic Thunder. You can judge for yourself. Some people say, no, this is just heavy psychedelic. I lean towards this is effectively metal. But the true heavy metal sound is the result of a finger injury by Tony Iommi more than anything else. And it does start with Black Sabbath. So Black Sabbath is the first heavy metal album, in my opinion. The first dedicated one. It's funny because Plastic Thunder did have a B-side to it. It's just I've never been able to find it. I've seen, you can kind of date elements of metal to King Crimson in 66, I suppose. 21st Century Schizoid Man and so forth. I don't consider that to be metal, it's just, it approximates it. But Yomi, Ozzy, and all the others from Black Sabbath, they're really the ones that made metal what it really became. So, I do give them credit. I salute you, my friend. S.C. Woods, dysentery and cholera is a shitty way to go. Yeah, and it happens commonly, and it did, actually, on the Oregon Trail. Harley Bailey, you have a point, actually. If it wasn't for Sharon, Ozzy would have been dead by the 90s. Yes, she got him kinda sorta cleaned up and reoriented him. He was a waste, basically. After he left Black Sabbath, while he got forced out of the band, Ozzy went on a bender, and the bender lasted for quite some time, to the point where medical experts literally begged for his blood to figure out how he survived all of this. The fact that he made it into his mid-70s, actually, it's astronomically unlikely for that to happen, considering the amount of drugs and alcohol that he imbibed. Yeah, she got him cleaned up, and she made him into, 80s and 90s Ozzy. And then they had MTV era and so forth. I've explained this the other day. I think, for some reason, some people have a hate boner for Sharon Osbourne. You wouldn't have had most of Ozzy's songs if it weren't for her. You never would have gotten the 80s hair metal era. He would have been dead. There's no way he could have survived that forever. I mean, he still used drugs and alcohol and relapsed on many occasions. But by and large, generally speaking, he was relatively clean. I mean, by Ozzy standards. Ozzy standards are a little bit different from average person standards when it comes to that. Yeah, Lemmy made it to 71. The fact that all of these people that literally abuse their bodies on a near daily basis managed to make it to that age range is actually incredible in some cases. But, yeah, Robin Hood, your party has died of dysentery. Press A to continue. Yeah, I know. It happens sometimes. If you get an outbreak of disease in the wagon train, it can spread from person to person. Which is one of the greatest things about Oregon Trail 2, actually. It's believable. Yeah, now people are talking about proto-metal. I like proto-metal. I like the early wave of what would become metal with the heavy psychedelic sound. Things like Coven and shit like that. The Wanderer. Tarl, what are your thoughts on the Northwest Imperative? If you're unfamiliar, it's the idea that white people in America should move to the Pacific Northwest and create an independent Aryan republic. Well, if they want to do so, then I have no problem with that. Would I have a problem with it if several states decided to, become officially white nationalist? Well, we've already got states that are effectively black nationalists, so I have no problem with this. That being said, I don't have a problem with people based on their skin color and shit like that. I judge people based on the content of their character. This is why I hate most politicians. Eric A. Steppenwolf. Yes, another good idea with regards to proto-metal. Steppenwolf would be on the list. Coven would be on the list. Bitter Creek is on the list, although again, so massively obscure, nobody really noticed the song. I hate when they label it 1970. It came from a compilation from 68, dude. Mike the Womp. Clank, motherfuckers! Learn how to love and forget how to hate. Ozzy. Exactly. Yeah, Steppenwolf is pretty great. You could even say that some elements of CCR are metal-like, I suppose. Although I think Fortunate Son comes out after Black Sabbath had already released their debut album. Probably cross-training. And of course, somebody might have invented heavy metal in 1950 and we just don't know about it because nobody's ever gotten a recording. It's entirely possible. It's just like the horror genre within cinema. Technically, it starts with a movie called The Golem, and it was about the Golem of Prague. But there is no extant copy. There are a couple of stills from it, that's all they have. Technically, horror begins there, but they don't have a copy of it. I hate it when this happens, by the way. As a bibliophile, I think of all the books that have been written that no longer exist at all, that can never be recovered, and I want to punch myself in the head, actually, sometimes. It's the same for music and cinema, all other forms of entertainment and so forth. Harold Campos, what do you think about Johnny Depp? Justified and entirely re-intact now that he's done with the Amber Heard nonsense. He was almost railroaded. He thankfully had the money to fight his legal battles properly. And Amber Heard is the sort of person who will smile with a knife behind their back, so to speak. Yeah, that's my read on it. The Wanderer. Tarl, may I recommend some literature? Look up Harold Covington's work and start with his novel The Hill of Ravens and go from there. I think you'll like them. Yeah, I like ravens, so if it has anything to do with that, I probably would like the book. Harold Campos, so you're gay for Johnny Depp? No, I'd prefer to fuck Amber Heard, but don't stick your dick in crazy. Taco Woman Sandy Ravage, Helter Skelter is Beatles metal. Yeah, Helter Skelter, I wouldn't call it metal, but it comes really fucking close. It's definitely hard rock. Yeah, that song's, for its time, was off the chain. I love Helter Skelter, by the way. When I get to the bottom, I go back to the top of the slide. Kina, my black lab is named Raven. You've got good taste in doggos. Black labs are certified cool. If I was gonna have a dog, it would be probably a black lab, actually. Congressman, how to undo Trump's economic damage. This is talking about tariffs. Now, this is hilarious because it's a little bit outdated, mainly because of the Japan deal and the UK deal and the Sweden deal and all of the other deals that have been minted in the last few days. Donald Trump's tariffs have not caused economic damage to the United States. Are prices high? Yeah. Can we use a time machine and go back, 7 or 8 months and see what the prices were? Oh shit, they're basically the same. Inflation is still there. There are still economic problems that Trump's administration needs to address. But by and large, generally speaking, things are moving along nominally. It's going to take a long time, unlike this article says, for Trump to undo the economic damage that the previous administration did. High inflation, disproportionate employment by people that aren't even legally in the country, and then so on and so on forth. It'll take time for Trump to be able to address these issues. The idea that he's doing economic damage by using reciprocal tariffs is completely ludicrous. All of the other countries that these same liberal commentators routinely praise are doing exactly the same thing. They've been tariffing our goods, in some cases for many decades. Sometimes, literally, for centuries. Well, if it works for them, why can't it work for us? Are we uniquely disqualified from being able to utilize this basic premise? That's what I would ask. Americans, we're just too goddamn stupid to figure out tariffs now, aren't we? Based Acid Fox, Twist and Shout is punk. Technically, I suppose you're right, actually. Huh. I like the song Glass Onion. I know that it's fashionable to say, well, the Beatles are overrated. No, fuck you. The Beatles were great. But it depends on the era. The first era is basically, twist and shout and stuff like that, and I want to hold your hand. And it's good. It's good music for the era. Then they start using drugs. And then you get Revolver and the White Album and stuff like that. That's the era that I like best. Towards the end, it kind of got sad. Like Let It Be and, Hey Jude and stuff like that. I'm not really a fan of the latter day Beatles. I prefer the mid to late 60s Beatles more than anything else. Sgt. Pepper's, yeah, Sgt. Pepper's a good movie. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band. Hope you will enjoy the show. I watched that movie, which is admittedly not necessarily the greatest as far as animation goes. I watched that on LSD once. I also did that with Alice in Wonderland, though. So yeah, I had some fun back in the day. Minnesota gets its own Zoran Mamdani. Yes, indeed. There's another state senator, Omar Fateh, actually, from Ohio, Minneapolis. And he's basically rubber stamping the same exact agenda. So you're going to have, like, government-run schools, everything subsidized, higher regulations, more taxes, all of these other things. And it's funny because the Democrats keep having to grapple with this problem. The problem for them, what works in Minneapolis or in New York City or San Francisco, some of these other, generally far blue enclaves, does not work on a national platform. But they always have these local stars that get all of the attention, by the way, and they're bootstrapped into the national news story. And well, here's the new face of the Democratic Party. And invariably, oh, Anton's here, brother. It's invariably someone who's on the young side, usually ethnic, at the very least female or gay or something like that. And then they try to speak for the party. They're getting all this attention. It's helping them. Anton's here. That means both right. Thank you, QWERTY. King Crimson is criminally underrated. By the way, the drummer from King Crimson actually married Toya, who is a different artist from the 1980s, actually. She had a medical condition and can't have kids or anything like that. And they actually have a live stream that they do once in a while. They seem to be having a fucking great time. They're the most bubbly couple I've ever seen in my life. Salty! Mike the Wop. George was the best Beatle, followed by Ringo. John was a commie fuck and Paul was alright. I agree that George Harrison was the best Beatle. I do have a soft spot, though, for John Lennon. I'll tell you why. Back in the day, how did I meet my first wife? My username on ICQ was John Lennon. And I would go in there and troll and shit like that. She randomly messages me and says, "Hail John Lennon." And then she almost went to sleep before I could respond. Having fun with the fundies? I can remember the conversation like it was yesterday. Because we were on Christianity chat and I was trolling them. It was a fun time, let me tell you. Harley Bailey. Sabbath may be the first dedicated metal album, but 21st Century Schizoid Man, the Nile song Helter Skelter, and Inagata Devita paved the way. Agreed. Absolutely. I've actually got that album from Iron Butterfly on vinyl. Inagata Devita, honey. Great fucking song. Robin Hood, ICQ, whew. Yep, ICQ, way back in the day when it was still browser-based mainly. That's actually the backstory of that. My username was John Lennon. There are probably screenshots of some of the crazy shit that I said back then. I had a whole blog about the experience. I was calling in raids and saying crazy shit. It was pretty fun. Water and coffee is all you need. It's getting a little bit hotter. Tomorrow it's going to be about 95 degrees, so I may do the Oregon Trail stream tomorrow. Rabbit, how many ex-wives? 2, actually. Yeah, I married a Mexican woman back in the late 2000s, and then I married Elizabeth's Philosophy more recently. I am divorced. Things happen. Nice women. Not going to say anything bad about either of them because there's nothing bad to say. Yeah. Sertorius, I met Robert Fripp of King Crimson. Yeah, he was playing a small club. Jaded. Started 30 minutes early and said if you don't like it, speak with the owner. He took $100 cash bids for requests. Good. Yeah, King Crimson is severely underrated. It's one of those situations, and I hate these, where something is highly rated, yet it's critically underrated. King Crimson would definitely be on that list. Yeah, I mean, actually, I think we might have a copy of that album on vinyl downstairs. I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure that we do have it, though. I've got, obviously, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. That's what I'm talking about. Talk your little trip with me. Oh, take a little trip with me. They're not underrated to real musicians. Yeah, no, the drum progressions in that are amazing, actually. It's just like Stevie Stevens. This pisses me off. He never makes like the top 100 list for guitarists. He can play the flamenco one-handed while he's smoking a cigarette. Come on, dude, give him some fucking credit. Lindsey Buckingham is the other. Oh, this pisses me off to the point where I want to crack my own bones apart. Lindsey Buckingham, one of the greatest guitarists of all time, from Fleetwood Mac. He can pick and strum at the same time. He can do it one-handed. He can do all sorts of crazy shit. He can literally drip the notes off the fucking guitar. It's like he's speaking a language. The average person, I mean, certainly I could never do that. But Rolling Stone, our own favorite leftoids, right? They don't like Lindsey Buckingham. And I can tell you why in a moment. They put him at number 100 on their top 100 list. They're like, well, we've got to include Buckingham, but we can't put him too high. Here's why. Because Stevie Nicks is more on the left, politically, and Lindsey Buckingham is not. That's why they put him at the very bottom of the list. We have to mention him, but we don't have to really justify him. Nobody's even going to see that he's on the list. And of course, they got like Jimi Hendrix and Van Halen and some of these others who quite clearly belong on the list. And they never even include Stevie Stevens. What the fuck are you talking about? Have you seen his flamenco solo? When he's was working with Billy Idol, who generally he's the guitarist for. He's shredding the shit out of it. He's way better than like Slash or something like that. He should be in the top 10. Ah, Bog. Alan Parson. Yes. I love Alan Parsons' project. I also love Burzum. Yeah, I don't have a problem with Slash. It's just, I mean, if you want someone to shred like that, you could just get Stevie Stevens in there. Flamenco, says CP Simple. My apologies. Ah, Sertorius, yes, Court of the Crimson King, great song. Mike the Wop. I liked it better in the beginning when it was a blues band called Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. This was the source of Black Magic Woman. Ah. Yeah, I don't know the full backstory of many people within music. It just pisses me off when somebody is exceptionally talented and doesn't get the recognition that they deserve. That pisses me off. So with Stevie Stevens, for example, dude, he shreds that guitar like nothing else. He can play it one-handed. He can do all of the tricks. Lindsey Buckingham, he can do the same thing. There are very, very few people capable of doing these things. Even playing a guitar competently in the normal way is difficult for the average person. I can't do it. But then you've got these people that can, like, throw the guitars up in the air like they're juggling and still be playing them or some crazy shit like that. And they don't even get on the top 100 list. My God, Stevie Stevens probably could have a guitar off with fucking Eric Clapton. He's a good guitarist too, by the way. BW, not until 2016 did I learn the right second-class citizens in this country. Not supposed to be, but we let the left take over after the 1960s. Yeah. Yeah, I tried to learn how to play guitar, and I could play, like, a couple of very basic bitch songs, but that's pretty much all I could do. I could do Home on the Range and stuff like that. But, no, I'm not a natural musician. I do have a voice in me, as some of you know, but I can't really play instruments. It's a big problem. It's been happening for a long time. I'm making soundboard references now. Doug, Sticks, synth pop now. Yeah, I like synth pop. I mean, I like. There are only two things in music that I don't like. I do not like the artistic, like improv jazz bullshit. Unless it's aesthetic. So, you know, you're at a restaurant, it's like a hipster, trendy place. It's tolerable then. Otherwise, fuck that shit. And I hate country western music. Like the Garth Brooks sort of bullshit. Real western music or real country, I like them. And I certainly like the folkier side of it. So, you know, like Johnny Cash or something like that. Johnny Cash is great. But I can't get into like the modern country western. I made a satirical song actually along these lines. And actually, I should link that out. That would be funny. We'll get back to the news in a moment, but let me link this out to you. I think I put it on my secondary account, but I'm not 100% sure. My dad and my uncle are arguing at the moment about. Yeah, I'll share this out. This is something that I made years ago, and I had so much fun making it. And yes, I may have been inebriated when I did so. Ah, based Acid Fox, you are indeed based. Some Velvet Born Morning, which is literally about getting a morning erection and then fucking a chick, by Lee Hazelwood and Nancy Sinatra. Hank Williams, yes. Charles Manson actually made some good folkish music. I will do it again, King of Biltong. I'm doing it again. You cannot stop me. I just like doing that. No, it tastes good, so, you know. Guarantee that Nancy and Lee were fucking, by the way. Probably cocaine fueled. Happens all the time. Sir Murgatroyd, Johnny Rebel. I am a fan of Johnny Rebel, actually. And the Skillet Liquors. CP Simple, yes, kind of. What happened is that Manson made a song and it made it onto the Beach Boys album 2020, actually. His original song was, what the fuck was it called? I can't remember the title. They changed the title and a few of the lyrics and effectively stole the song from Charles Manson. Yes, the Beach Boys actually did this. I think there was a lawsuit involved, actually. Mike McNair. So Epstein noticing is TDS now, Tarl? No, of course not. I've said that the administration really needs to change up its messaging with regards to it. I can understand the situation, but they're not approaching it the right fucking way. King of Biltong, Premium Angus, and Wagyu Biltong from Biltong, USA. High protein, no additives, authentic handcrafted meat snack. Naturally air-dried and delicious. www.biltongusa.com. Use code STICKS for 10% off. It is a good idea if you do so. Oh yeah, Look at Your Game Girl, I believe, was the one. Thank you, Adam Price. Mike the Wop. Roy Buchanan and Roy Gallagher are the best guitarists you never heard of, folks, if you need something else in your life. Hey, I'm always into good guitar solos. Harley Bailey. Has everyone gone pirate now? Sargon has a parrot. Oh, shit. I didn't know this. Spocko. Johnny Cash made a funny song about folk music. The one on the right is on the left. Zachary Antle. I found a 70s Norwegian pro-rock band called Prudence. Their albums are hard to find, but are great mixes. Mixes prog with traditional Norwegian folk. That could be pretty good. Yeah, Sargon bought a parrot? I was not aware of this. Broken Prophet. Fairies wear boots and you gotta believe me. Good song, by the way. I think that was about him suffering delirium, if I remember correctly. The Sultans of Cringe, who killed late night. They destroyed themselves chasing Trump and now can't accept failure. Yeah, this ties into something that I was saying actually the other day. Stephen Colbert, or Colbert, or however the hell you want to pronounce it, who has become irrelevant, by the way, is just a symbol of the dying of the late night franchise. And part of it is the fixation on Trump. So it's all they talk about. Well, you know, you have to have a joke lineup that actually has jokes in it. You can't simply ramble about one person night after night after night. That was one problem. The other problem, though, is think about what people are doing when they tune in the TV to the late night show. They're tweeting and shit like that. They're putting posts on Instagram. And so they're not spending as much time actually paying attention to the show as they are commenting on the show. Everyone has become a commentator. By the way, I think that this is a good thing because at least it gets people's heads in motion. But what's happened is that people are using less of that time. Let's say there's a 60-minute slot. How many of those 60 minutes are they engaged with the content? Half of them, maybe? Maybe. The other half of the time, they're either tweeting, Instagramming, posting on Facebook, looking up something else, doing something else. And so TV really is a dying medium more than anything else. TVs these days mostly are used for on-demand programs, not for basic cable. So it doesn't surprise me that late night shows would be one of the first to go. I've never heard Niall song. Several people have mentioned it, so I'll queue it up for later. Niall song. Sounds good to me. Okay, I may need to attend to something. This sounds to be a family feud of sorts. All right, everyone. It's something about a truck. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but it's between my father and my uncle. So, I have absolutely no clue. Mr. Twisted Frenzy. First time I ever heard the song Hellraiser was when GTA San Andreas came out. And every time I hear that song, I get hit with a strong sense of nostalgia. I think I'll play GTA later today. Rip Ozzy. Yeah, I loved listening to the tunes on all of the GTA games, actually. Random flag! I get the reference. Rip Ozzy? A reminder his wife donated a cool 1 million to BLM in 2020 and says she regrets it now. Also, I met Jeremy the Quartering in real life a couple weeks ago at a meetup. Extremely nice, wholesome guy. Yeah, I like Jeremy. He's got the clanker seal of approval. The new GTA, I don't think it's come out yet, actually. The one that's basically a remake of Vice City, only 10,000 times better. I hated, I played GTA Vice City first, and the only thing I didn't like about the game was it felt closed in, very small. As opposed to like GTA 4, it's a fairly massive open world experience. By the way, I've actually been in the neighborhood that you start out in Brooklyn there, and it does look a lot like that. Some people are like, why would you go to New York? I'm like, well, it was a fun time, let me tell you. Anyway, AI reveals new details about famous Latin inscription. An artificial intelligence system has revealed fresh details about one of the most famous Latin inscriptions, the Res Gestae Dive Augusti, once inscribed on two bronze pillars in Rome and copies throughout the Roman Empire. Apparently, it had to do with legal documents and things like that. See, here's the problem. AI can be used for all sorts of cool things. It can also be used for very bad things. And sometimes it fucks up. Like this morning, I made a video on the FDA's usage of AI. The AI became rogue and started spitting out reports that never actually existed or were falsified in some manner, just to please the people that were putting the prompts. You have to design it properly, and then you have to prompt it properly. If you can do that, you can do all sorts of things. Collate data, you can do, 100 people's work in a single hour, basically. But you gotta get it right. The problem is they haven't quite gotten it right. This brings up a real problem. Let's say that we apply it to military usages. Now, in theory, an AI program hatched into all the monitoring and so forth can defend a whole nation. It would be seamless. You'd have turret emplacements and the launching of drones and stuff like that. It would be easy, but you have to program it right first. How do you do that on an international scale and actually get it right? It's going to take a little bit of time, I think. Just saying. Based Acid Fox. Trump has some splaining to do. Yeah, what he needs to explain is why he hasn't fired Kash Patel and Dan Bongino for their reprehensible actions. And Pam Bondi told us, I have the paperwork on my desk. Okay, so it exists, right? I mean, it can't be on your desk if it doesn't. Either that or Pam Bondi is a complete liar. So why didn't you scan it in and release it to the public? Now, I can answer why it wasn't released to the public, but I'm hoping that it's still extant. That's all I'm hoping for. And I was hoping that the Trump administration would at least have the courtesy to tell the American people, yes, indeed, the FBI is lying to you. The list does exist. There was blackmail and bribery. We know all of these things. It doesn't take a genius to figure out what was happening at Epstein Island. We do have the paperwork. We simply can't release it now. That's all you had to say. Unfortunately, they chose something else. Agamemnon Fireman. I was able to meet Ozzy at an event in Pennsylvania in 2023. He signed my copies of Bark at the Moon, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, and Volume 4, and got a photo. Rest in peace. Ah, you're lucky. I wish I could have gotten this album signed by Ozzy before he died. Yeah, Ozzy seemed like a very, very cool but very, very troubled man. Yeah, Uncle Sham. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Let's not neglect to remember that the first director of the FBI had a penchant for ladies' undergarments. Yes, indeed, he was a crossdresser. Here, I'm gonna try to give you a link here. Yeah, J. Edgar. Jesus Christ. J. Edgar Hoover. Yeah, he did that. Which is hysterical, actually. Mr. Producer, Ozzy in Argentina. Sadly, if he goes to Argentina now, he'll be in a box. He won't be able to sing. Yeah, I think the story about Ozzy having himself killed, humane euthanasia, is probably true, actually. But I'm still not 100% on it, so, it's not really newsworthy. Sunnycat, just in, French President Macron files defamation lawsuit against Candace Owens over her claims that his wife is a man. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter if he proves defamation if it's in a French court because she's not in France. Seems more like lashing out than anything to me. Let me look this up. Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do about it? You're in France. You're not in the United States. Who gives a fuck? French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte have filed a defamation lawsuit in the U.S. against conservative influencer Candace Owens over her repeated claims that France's First Lady is, in fact, a man. Candace will be officially responding to this on her podcast today, as we are just learning about this in the press. A spokesperson for BCC Communications, which represents Owens, told Newsweek. I've got several questions. Number one, how can people in France sue somebody in a foreign nation? You don't have any jurisdiction. Fuck yourself. Secondly, how is she going to prove that she's not a man? Now, I don't believe that Macron's wife is a man. I believe she's just a creepy pervert who happens to be considerably older than him and cougared him, and he fucked his teacher, basically. Each to their own. At the very least, towards the end, he was at least an adult, I suppose. Whatever. So I don't believe that Brigitte Macron is actually male. That being said, how are you going to prove otherwise? Are you going to take a blood test? Are you going to expose your pussy to people? Yeah, it'll be a little bit difficult to prove, I think. Mike the Womp, do you personally think Macron's wife is a man? No, I do not believe that she is male. I believe that she is a she. Same with Michelle Obama, by the way. Just because you have certain masculine features doesn't mean that you're not female. Same is true of a lot of dudes. Look at the New Age movement. Most of those dudes couldn't even grow a goddamn beard. But this isn't the definition of defamation anyway. It makes absolutely no difference. This is a frivolous lawsuit in every sense of the word. Mike the Wop, she had man hands. Jerry. B-list history. I sent you a Twitter DM with an article. 1 in 5 Dominicans are currently living in the U.S. I did see that, by the way. Thank you. Brain drain and demographic shift have reached insane levels. Come to clankers.net. Copium poppies. Ozzy didn't die. He's taking a nap. Ozzy is incapable of death. He'll be playing last shows for generations upon generations. Ozzy lives. Yeah, no, if Miss Macron is guilty of anything, it's being a pervert, not being a tranny. But I mean, how can you file a defamation case like that? How can you prove a negative? And unless you're going to have Bridget Macron come to the United States physically before the court, disrobe, and get a blood test or something like that, you're not going to be able to prove jack shit. Candace Owens should ignore the lawsuit. Literally just ignore it. The French have become as litigious as the English. But no, I do not believe that she is a male. I believe she is a woman. She's just a creepy one. That's what Candace Owens should have said. Hey, you do realize that Emmanuel Macron was making out with his high school teacher for an extended period of time, and then they were fucking like rabbits and shit like that. Rabbit. What would she podcast about? You mean Bridget Macron? Uh, I don't know, honestly. I guess making French lessons for English speakers or something. Vexed Peril. You Americans are the most litigious. Agreed, depending on the part of the country. Yeah, Macron's only real sin is, well, Bridget Macron is, she was like, what, 20 years older than Emmanuel at the time or something like that? And he was a minor at the time, I believe. I think he was like 17 and she was pushing 40 or something like that. That's when you get into the creepy zone. Just saying. And of course, it could have been going on before then. We're not 100% sure. We've only got the official story. Sunny Cat 85. Age of consent in most of Europe is 15. Yes, they're comos. Yes, I realize that the age of consent is lower. But, like, saying like a 19-year-old gets together with a 17-year-old, that's not pedophilia. There's nothing creepy about that. But when you have a 40-year-old teacher getting together with a teenage student, yeah, that's creepy. Yeah, absolutely it is. Mike the Wop, have you seen Chuck Schumer's wife? I think that's another candidate for might be a guy. No, actually, I haven't seen a picture of Chuck Schumer's wife. Maybe I should look that up. Honestly, I thought he was gay. Oh. Oh my. Alright. I'm not looking at any more of that. It's pretty bad. For those of you who have not seen the picture, don't look it up. Do not look up Chuck Schumer's wife or partner. It's a bad idea. Sunny Cat, I wish you could see Anna Luna naked. Oh, I would love to, actually. Yeah, Anna Luna is definitely the most attractive member of Congress. By far. Yeah, Chris CM, dude, looks like a lady. Holy shit. Yeah, now Chuck Schumer's wife, I don't really want to develop bulimia, let's put it that way. Not really a fan of that. I'd rather not puke all over myself on a live stream. CP Semple, Bobert a close second. Yeah, Bobert is definitely. Yeah, I mean, she got felt up in the theater that time. There was a reason for that. But Anna Luna is definitely the most attractive. Copium Poppies! Rumble should add a new super chat feature, memes, and image uploads. Agreed. Yeah, Anna Luna also seems like a sweet person, too. Firebrand, but also good personality and extremely good body. Yeah, which means she's probably psycho because there's no such thing as a unicorn. Mike the Wop, you could be right that Chuck Schumer is gay. Who else would marry a woman like that but someone who needed a beard? Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with Chuck Schumer. I had never seen a picture of his wife before, literally just now. Normally, I don't insult like the spouses or companions of people in politics because they're not elected officials. But I mean, looks a little bit like a younger version of Rosie O'Donnell, actually. Just saying. Laying on my belly eating dust. Bro, what? I'm a pig your ass. Oh yeah, Tulsi would be up there on the list of attractive politicians. Spider Eternal! I hear Chuck Schumer's wife auditioned for the Goonies, but they didn't want to scare the kids that badly. Yeah, just watched the Goonies a couple days ago. Great times. You may have noticed that sometimes I'm into pirate movies. Harold Campos, you guys are fucking weird. Welcome to the party, camper. One tall order, rip Ozzy Osbourne. The drugs finally stopped doing him. Yeah, I know, like, if you were to take, like, a piece of his body, and you were to dry it out and smoke it, I wonder how high you would get. You'd probably get blasted, actually. Chrominion, Goonies never say die, that's what I'm talking about. Man, I want to watch the Goonies again soon. Yeah, I mean, Ozzy was the drugs. He's basically like his corpse is just the pile of cocaine, basically. They shouldn't embalm him. They should mummify him, powder him, and snort him, and see what happens. They'd probably get some interesting results. It's not even a joke. That's the fucking point. I remember the time, it was like 5 years ago, I think. He sort of slipped his leash. He just wanders off randomly. Nobody knows where he is. They can't contact him. And he just went out whoring and doing drugs randomly. Then it comes back, Sharon, I love you, I'm so sorry, and stuff like that. And she just rolled her eyes, did the typical Sharon thing. She's like, okay, Ozzy, fucking Jesus. At least you're home. It was hysterical. Spider Eternal. Like a dead vampire, Ozzy will turn back into cocaine dust. 1968 Romeo and Juliet. Leonard Whiting, 17. Olivia Hussey, 15. Franco Zeffirelli says, she was the love of my life. I think that was the one that I watched in English class that one time, where they were in the bodysuits. Where they had that one scene where they were kind of sort of naked. I'm pretty sure that I saw that. Ronald Simmons, snorting ants and pissing on the Alamo. Good times. Yeah, one time Ozzy was with Motley Crue, I guess, I think. And everyone was snorting cocaine, and then he just randomly ground up a bunch of ants and snorted them too. It's like when you're more high than all of Motley Crue, there might be a problem in your life that you need to address. It must have been so cool to party with Ozzy back in the 80s. At some point, you'd probably pass out anyway, but until then, it would be great fun. Like, how many drugs did I do last night? Well, you jumped up into a tree, launched yourself out of it, did a barrel roll on the way down, then you snorted several more lines, and ran through the woods naked, and then you assaulted a police officer. That's why you're behind bars. Oh, great party. Mike the Wop. Chunk wouldn't even be considered fat these days. He looks like Brad Pitt compared to most folks now. Yeah, it was funny. That is actually a good point. People who were considered comedically obese back then would be considered totally normal now. That's a good point, actually. Copium Poppies. Ozzy will be snorting coke long after we're all dead. Ozzy lives. Spider Eternal. Imagine how our world would have turned out if we had legalized cocaine instead of weed. Oh, there'd be quite a bit of combat, I'm assuming. Did you take my powder? I didn't take your powder, man. I think you took my powder, bitch. And then things begin. With weed, it's more like, hey, man, did you take some of my green? Yeah, man, I did. Don't worry, I'll return the favor in a few minutes. All right. And then they just pass out. Yeah, Chunk was comically hilarious in the 1980s because that was considered obese. Now it's like, it's just a normal kid. Uncle Shem. Wait, cocaine is illegal? Oh, fuck. The Truffle Shuffle. Multiple people mentioning the Truffle Shuffle. God, I want to watch The Goonies again. I really like the Hey You Guys scene. Where the deformed dude comes flying out of the rigging. The big guy. Everyone do some coke in honor of Ozzy. I do have Coca-Cola, actually. Although it's not the new one with the cane sugar. Isn't it funny that Donald Trump greenlights an order to create this new Coca-Cola on the same day that Ozzy Osbourne dies? I mean, I gotta say, is this really a coincidence? Just saying. Taco Woman Sandy Ravage, Goonies sequel in development. Won't watch it. Absolutely not. There's no way you can improve upon the original. I refuse to justify it. They're gonna make it woke. It's gonna be retarded. I will not watch it. Not even a single clip. Copium Poppies. Did you watch Freddy Got Fingered again? I haven't watched it a second time, but I guarantee you that I will. That was a fun movie. Yeah, no, if they're trying to make a Goonies sequel, are they retarded? I mean, it's a rhetorical question. No, that's not gonna work. You can't improve upon the Goonies. It's stuck in time. This is something that people in cinema need to understand. Sometimes a movie is stuck in time. There's a specific kind of cinematography that goes on. There's a single style of acting that tends to go on. And so the movie effectively is iced. It's been completely stored. There's no way to remake it. They tried to do this with Ghostbusters. They failed. They tried to do it with Blade Runner. They failed. If they try to do it with the Goonies, they will fail. 100%. I guarantee it. Nobody's going to give a shit about that. The people that care about the Goonies, we're all in our 30s and 40s and shit like that. And you think I'm going to watch a new Goonies movie? Oh, the Goonies sequel. How do you make a sequel? The story ends with the family. Well, spoiler alert, so, shut your ears if you haven't watched the movie. I'll give that little warning first. I mean, it ends with a pirate ship full of treasure, magically sailing off into the distance while the family restores their house and shit like that. How the hell are you going to remake it? There's no way to make a sequel. It makes absolutely no sense. Half of these people that were in the movie are dead. So, I don't exactly know how they're going to do a remake, but yeah, I mean, if you want to try. Without the campy synth, by the way, spoiler alert's over, but without the campy synth, and without the old school, 80s setup, so everything is very complex. Like the scenes with modern movies, a lot of times they're very streamlined, they're very clean, a lot of neon and stuff like that. And that's fine for certain movies. But back in the 80s, it was all, smoke machines and stuff like that. And lots of swampy settings and weird lighting and stuff like that. Especially with sci-fi and horror. You're not going to be able to replicate that. There's no way to do it. It's impossible. I really, really hope that they don't actually remake the Goonies. I'm begging you to assure me that that's some sort of joke. A sick joke. One tall order, all jokes aside, the heavy metal ship of state, as it were, feels like it's without its head captain today. What say you, Styx? Yes, indeed, heavy metal is beginning to die, unfortunately. The ship is sinking. Thankfully, there are good new metal bands. Yeah, if they fucking... Oh, God, don't remake the goddamn Goonies, please. Oh. I've got 99 problems. Hopefully a new Goonies remake ain't one. Mike the Wop. One way to make a Goonies sequel is just ignore the kids and do the backstory on One-Eyed Willie and the Pirates. Completely ignore the first movie. Okay, you could probably do that. It would be like a prequel, so to speak. That could work. But is that really what you expect them to do? Because I don't expect them to do that. No, I expect them to have, One-Eyed Willie's ship comes back into the coast. And then a whole nother group of children have to scope out the ship and try to plunder the treasure, and there are other mafiosos there, or something like that. Maybe they're members of a Venezuelan cartel or something at this point. I mean, it would be... I don't think that it'll work. There are ways to do it, but I don't think that they're intelligent enough to figure out how to do it. Based on the last few years of movie re-releases, no, I'm sorry, I think that they'll fail. Spider Eternal. Styx must assume the metal mantle and become the new Prince of Darkness. Well, I'm the literal one, but yes, as far as music goes, it's definitely Ozzy. I've told you who I am. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name. Most people won't believe me. Copium Poppies. Fetterman could legitimately make a great sloth. They should cast him. Okay, if you get Fetterman on there as sloth, that could work. Although I doubt he'd be willing. Yeah, I mean, who would you cast in the roles? None of it would make sense. If they were to remake Goonies, they're just going to ruin it. And it's like, okay, well, we've officially... It's basically like the last nail in the coffin. Just like with the Ghostbusters remake. You're hammering the last nail into the coffin, officially burying the franchise, and saying, fuck it. with the Goonies, if you try to remake it and you don't do it fucking perfectly, the entire main cohort that would be interested in watching it will tune it out and say this is bullshit. A handful of younger people will say, oh, it's a cool movie, but it'll only be a handful. You're never going to have enough of an audience. You're not going to make the money back that you spent on the movie or anything like that. It's just not going to happen. This has happened over and over again, by the way. Harrison Bergeron, Sticks, have you seen Big Trouble in Little China? Yes, but it was when I was a kid. It was long, long ago, so I don't really remember the plot. Yeah, there's no way that you can remake The Goonies. Uh, I mean, you could take that suggestion, have it focus on, the pirates, like have it retrospective or something. That would be cool. But do I really trust any animation studio that exists today to actually accomplish this task? No. That's a rhetorical question. What was the name of that movie? There's another like classic like B-list 80s movie that I was thinking of. Nothing But Trouble comes to mind. That was a good movie. Please don't remake that with Mr. Bone Stripper and everything like that. And also Throw Mama from the Train. That was a funny one. Copium Poppies. The new Ghostbusters movies, aside from the feminist reboots, are actually really good and continue the story from the old movies. The Ghostbusters franchise learned from their mistake. Yeah, let's hope that they continue. Yeah, I've heard better things about those ones, so hopefully, it continues. I used to have actually a lunch pail back in elementary school, which was Ghostbusters. I had another one that was Scooby-Doo. CP Semple, if they try to remake The Ghost and Mr. Chicken, I'll probably strangulate myself. Abstract Cats official. I dreamed Louis Armstrong was trying to kill me. That sounds like one hell of a fucking dream. Copium Poppies. Meant reboot in singular form, not plural. Yeah, Treebeard, I didn't even like the original Spaceballs very much, so it was one of Mel Brooks' weakest works. Young Frankenstein, excellent. Blazing Saddles, excellent. History of the World Part 1, excellent. Those were all great, great movies, and he deserves applause for them. I was never a fan of Spaceballs, though. I just didn't find it funny. Copium Poppies. Also, Jurassic World Rebirth was awesome. I guess I'll have to watch that. Yeah, this is now a Bant stream, as you can probably tell. Laying on my belly eating dust. What Spaceballs is awesome. I just wasn't a fan. I didn't find it as funny as the other Mel Brooks films. Like Young Frankenstein is probably my favorite comedy movie. Blazing Saddles is up there. History of the World Part 1 is up there. So, I mean, you've got 3 Mel Brooks movies in the top 10, actually, for comedy. But Spaceballs just didn't do it for me. I just didn't really like it. Now people are just naming random movies that they happen to like. Lemon Curd. The only good thing about Disney is their Korean films that have English subtitles. So little wokeness, they're actually watchable. Sounds good. S.C. Woods. It's good to be the king. I get that reference. Yeah, History of the World Part 1 was a severely underrated movie. There's that one scene. There will be spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, then you might want to mute it for a minute. Don't worry. I'll give you the thumbs up when I am done. Yeah, there's that one scene where they have like the gigantic joint and then they light it up and the Romans are trying to follow them and they just get them completely stoned and they're by the side of the road. They're like, man, I don't know what the fuck is going on. So yeah, spoiler over. Yeah, I think that was my favorite scene, or the eunuch scene. I won't describe it. Anton says, 100% agree, Sticks. Yeah, History of the World Part 1 is totally underrated. There's so many great moments. And it was 100% pure slapstick. Shit, I'm out of water. Well, that sucks. Taco Woman, Sandy Ravage. Metal's not dead yet. Check out my NOLA black and death metal band Gnashing on Spotify and Bandcamp. Yeah, it seems that Spaceballs is pretty polarizing. Some people hate it, some people love it. I'm more like, meh. I mean, it was okay. There was nothing wrong with it. It's just it wasn't as funny as the other Mel Brooks movies. I mean, it doesn't hold a candle to Young Frankenstein or Blazing Saddles, or even to History of the World Part 1, or the producers. Mel Brooks is a genius. And by the way, I think he's like fucking, what is he, 95 years old or some shit by now? Copium Poppies. Mel Brooks should also make History of the World Part 2 while he has a chance. I believe that he announced that they actually are making Part 2. I believe that that is actually forthcoming. We're going to hope that it goes well. I'm hoping that it's like the original. But hope is usually, you know, like all dreams, this one too must die, basically mode. No, I liked Young Frankenstein the best. Abstract Cats Official! The Louis Armstrong line is from Throw Mama from the Train. Oh! I didn't realize that. I thought it was a dream that you had. I only saw the movie once 20 years ago, so I can't remember the lines. Copium Poppies. No, that is Spaceballs 2. Salty Reese's Cup. Just opened a 16-ounce glass bottle of cane sugar Coca-Cola. Jammin' Ozzy with Randy R. working on a 72 Mustang, time machines and such. Goodness. Oh, somebody's living the life. Oh God, Crow Minion. Abby Normal. Do you mean that I put an abnormal brain into a 6'4", 300-pound man? Is that what you're telling me? Or something like that. I like Frau Bluka. That's the best part. Bluka! Just saying. Yeah, you've got Frau Bluka. You've got the bizarre sex scene. And, well, everything in Young Frankenstein is just perfect. I'd be normal. Would you like telling me whose brain I did put inside of this body? Oh, I've watched that movie over 100 times easily. Oh, by the way, the constable from that movie, and most of you don't know this, is actually the same person that did the voice acting for the Grandpa Longneck in the first dinosaur movie there. I can't remember the name of it. The one with the chick that unfortunately died at a very young age, getting slaughtered by her father, and it's very sad and had to be replaced afterwards. Yeah, Land Before Time. Yeah, in Land Before Time, Grandpa Longneck originally was voiced by the same person who played the constable in Young Frankenstein, the one that did the dart game with Frankenstein. S.C. Woods, he was my boyfriend. Yeah, he did quite a bit of voice acting, apparently. I never knew this. Apparently, he could change his voice fairly easily, so he was fairly talented. Bobby Bobbinson, I will absolutely say hail, Ozzy. You don't have to ask me. Yeah, All Dogs Go to Heaven. I think he was a voice actor in there as well, actually, if I remember correctly. Yeah, but he was Grandpa Longneck. And by the way, it's funny because when you look at the first one, the first episode, which has nothing to do with all of the others, Land Before Time, it's a very, very sad movie. It's it's sad from top to bottom. Pretty much everyone dies. But then they make it to the great beyond, so to speak. And then, I think, was it Disney or some other film studio made like 11 fucking iterations of it. And they had different voice actors because, of course, Ducky died, among other things. And, made it into a huge franchise. I think I had a Land Before Time lunchbox at one point as well, actually. Can't remember, actually. Uncle Sham, my cat is scared shitless of Scarface. Thank you for reminding me, because I want to watch Scarface. I've never actually watched the full movie before, but I've heard nothing but good things about it, so... I'm going to... Randall Flagg? Let's see. What's this? Let me see. History of the World Part 2. Shit. Yeah, it's got a 5.6 out of 10 for a reason. No thanks. Anyways, send no more super chats, please. Lemon Curd, Rocky Horror. Yeah, I love doing the time warp. And at the end, when you do the time warp, you've got to collapse to the ground. It's just part of the show. It's a full interaction sort of movie. Taco Woman, Sandy Ravage, Spaceballs 2 is set to release in 2027. Also, very young Frankenstein, the TV show, is currently in the works for FX. Yeah. I don't believe in suicide, everyone. But, this latest news troubles me greatly. Anyways, I'm gonna go offline. And I'll be back tomorrow. I know you want more Oregon Trail. I'll probably do that tomorrow because it's gonna be way too fucking hot to wear anything other than a coonskin cap. So, if any of you horny chicks want to see me with my nipples out, tomorrow's probably the greatest example of an opportunity to do so. It's going to be 95 degrees with full humidity. The heat index will be about 105. So it's going to be oppressive. It's becoming slightly oppressive, actually, as we speak. This isn't even tomorrow. It's going to be a time. So I'm going to net more news stories and put them in there. And tomorrow I might be getting cholera or dysentery or something like that. Sounds like a fun time, actually. One member of your party got diseased. They've got smallpox. Well, fuck them. Administer some laudanum. Give them some pain relief and just leave him alone, basically. Anyways, yes, I'll be back tomorrow with more live streaming. Do not worry, I shall return. That's about all. Peace out.